Happy Monday morning to everyone. Today is July 22nd, 2024. And I just realized I don't like my hair parted in the middle. I've tried it all kinds of different ways and I've worn it to the side for most of my entire life or bangs. And then I decided today when I looked in the mirror, like, I don't want to part it in the middle. So we're going to fix it later today so it's not parted in the middle. But that's my dilemma for Monday. July 22nd. No, it's definitely not a dilemma. I received some horrible news this morning that another very close friend of mine that was here in my community had passed away over the weekend. And my husband and I just cried. I'm just losing a lot of people lately in my life that mean a lot to me. So I just want to share this message for everybody listening today and watching this video. Please, please, please do me a favor. Tell the ones that you love them. Hold on to them. Do things with them. Create memories with them, because we never know how long someone has on this time on earth. So life is too short for you to be grinding it out every day and think that work is the number one most important thing in your life, that we need to focus on family and friends and the things that are also important in our lives. So Pallavi, thank you for letting me share that message today on our show. And I know there are a lot of women of color that are in my proximity that are probably watching this today as well. And they're finding it difficult to navigate dual cultures. I'm not part of those women that navigate dual culture. I'm a minority as a female, and I have my own struggles as a female, but then pile on top of that, coming from a different country, being raised in a different culture, but yet you want to fit in with how it is here in America. So Pallavi Gupta is with us today. She's a Desi Wellness Coach, works with many women of color. She's going to really help us understand why that's a struggle, because herself falls into this category. So Pallavi, welcome to your Member Monday Spotlight.
Thank you, Colleen. And first off, I just want to say I'm deeply sorry to hear that you lost another dear friend. It's incredibly difficult, and my heart goes out to you, and just sending prayers to you and their loved ones. It's a difficult time, but over time it heals. Yeah. So I just grew up with conservative Indian parents, and so the idea is that parents hold tight to the culture from the country that they're from. They don't want to lose that, because in the end they kind of lose their identity if they do when they go to a different country. And so, having been born and brought up here in the US, my parents held on tight to their culture. Nothing wrong with that, but allowing some flexibility, right? Allowing the child as they grow up and some flexibility, let them fall down a little bit so they can learn from those mistakes. Otherwise, we feel suffocated. I don't know about you ladies, but I know I felt suffocated. I felt alone in my own community. And that's why I created a community separate for everyone, not a non-judgmental zone where you can show up as you are. You're good, you're bad, you're ugly. And let's be open. Let's talk about the things we want to talk about that we can't talk with other friends, because they're going to judge you. You can't talk with your parents because they're going to say something that you're not going to like, or that you feel like you're not being heard, right? That's what this is about. That's what this community is about. That's what I'm building, and that's what I'm connecting other like-minded women to. We are here to support one another in whatever you're going through. Chances are what you're going through, another woman in the community is probably going through the same thing or something similar. Or if she's not, she may offer a different perspective. It's like when you go at a company and you have a problem to solve, right? Companies want to facilitate group thinking, because with multiple minds and different backgrounds and experiences, we're going to be able to solve the problem. The same thing applies to this community here. It's what I'm offering to the clients and those women that join this community. Why go at life alone? Why do anything alone? Why struggle alone? Why live life alone? Why experience anything in your life alone? Right?
Yeah. I love
You don't have
that.
to be alone.
That's what the LEAP community is all about and why I created it, and it was specifically for female business owners that are growing their businesses and are looking to connect with other women that are female business owners that are going through what they're going through, so that each of us can open doors, provide opportunity, build our social capital, which in the end, our network winds up building our net worth. Without the opportunities, the doors, being able to walk through those, then we're kind of isolated on our own. And I would say to my friend, Lauren Wood, as well as my other friend, Julie Jones, the number one thing I know is that we have to surround ourselves with community when we lose the person that we love. Don't isolate yourself. Don't allow grief to isolate you from others, but move through it with the support of everyone. And that's what you're talking about here, is moving through the challenges and the hurdles that each one of them are going through with the support of others. And you're finding, just like I did, that when I bring like-minded women together, women that are working on something the same. So as you're bringing women of color, they have similar challenges. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I was just talking to a girlfriend this past weekend, and we were just talking about things in our life. We're both dating and what we're facing and how we're challenging, dealing with the things that are coming up and the emotions that go through it. And that's just only one part of it, right? Life is more than that, right? You have relationships. It's not just the romantic, right? You have family relationships. You have business relationships, right? You have friendships. Another thing she's telling me is if she were to go back home, she knows that her family or her parents would just, in a way, micromanage. She felt loss of freedom. Why? Why? You have to set the boundaries. If you're not clear what those boundaries are for yourself, then others and around you aren't going to understand where they stand with you, right?
That was powerful. Set boundaries. These boundaries are for us, for our well-being, for our choices. They have nothing to do with other people. But yet, other people demand so much from us. I just started yesterday this Simone Biles documentary that's on Netflix, and that was the number one thing she was talking about, was so much as is demanded of them, and so much of the country at the Olympics demand of them that they feel so pressured. They have zero boundaries to set for their mental health, or if they're not able to perform at the level that everyone wants them to because they've got some disbelief going on in their head that they're not good enough. Are you finding this and working with many women of different color that there's this struggle with, I want to fit in, or I have this desire of how I want my life to be, but yet my parents are kind of still living back in the Stone Ages of the way that it's just always been traditionally? That's a big piece that I think we tiptoe lightly in. How do you deal with that? Because you are in the middle of this right now, Pallavi,
I
with tradition and cultures and dating. Technically, it is not cool in your culture to be your age not married. It is
yes,
not like, is it embarrassing? I'm just being honest, straight up. Is it an embarrassment to your parents? Do they say that it would just be easier for them if you were married because that's just not part of an acceptance in the culture?
I think I'm very fortunate. My parents have never told me that. For them, it's we don't want you to be alone once we're gone. We want you to have someone to share your life with, to have that companion.
Yeah.
In other cultures, in India, it is very difficult. I think in certain cultures, it's you got to be married in your 20s. It's like you have to get married in your 20s. Divorce used to be a big taboo in our culture, right? But I think some of the younger generation, they're saying, you know what? This isn't working for me. It's okay that I need to part ways with this partner, right? In some cultures, even that divorce for the first few years, it is that taboo. One of my best friends experienced that. and she got backlash, but she just was so unhappy with her life. I met her in college and she was already married to a person she didn't even want to get married to.
Yeah.
The thing is culture can put pressure, right? But I think as we work through our life, we have to realize it's our one and only precious life. What do we want to do? How do we want to design that? How do we want to charter our path, right? What
Individually
do you want
for
to set
us. Yeah,
for
I love that you
ourselves?
said that. So you created, and I'll have to get this link from you. If you want to drop that in the chat, we can share your Meetup link. You
Yeah.
created a group on Meetup, and you did this for women of color that are navigating dual cultures, that are finding it difficult to want to live their life the way that they want to do it versus the way that their family or parents or their culture is stating that they should do it. Now, remember, this can also be about someone who's been this was me, someone who has been in a family that felt like it was just generational poverty over and over and over again. And it was just like, the low expectations of what we're supposed to turn out to be and how we're supposed to navigate our life, to the point where when I was like, that's not near enough for me, I want so much more out of life, that when I decided to go after that, they turned their backs on me, right? They were like, oh, look at who she is now, or look, and it's like, wait a minute, I want better for my life. Don't you want better for your life? So that was very difficult for me, because I wanted the most I could possibly ever get out of life for my life. I still do. I want that for my children. And if that's not what my children want, that's okay. I can accept that. But I would want my parents and wanted my parents to accept that for me. So tell us about your Meetup group and why you put it together. And I know it consists of activities and it consists of workshops. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is a community that I created just for that. We show up, we do activities, we work through what we're working through, but we share what's going on with us. I had a lady who came to my paint night activity that was earlier this month, and she was sharing with me, I normally don't share about my private life with anyone. I was like, okay, why is that? And she's like, it's just so uncomfortable. And, in my family, we're very open. Her immediate family, like her parents and her siblings, they're just very open with each other. And then she got married and she's living with her in-laws and her husband. And it's a totally different dynamic. She doesn't feel like she can speak her mind. And it's about, and I was just speaking to another woman about this last week, the relationship with the mother-in-law, and then the husband gets in the middle, right? And you're unhappy because of the situation. The husband's stuck, and the mother-in-law is, wherever she's at, right? And I think it's so important to communicate. If we don't communicate how we feel, it's not going to work. Everyone feels the relationship and the energy just being pulled down lower and lower. Ultimately, the mother-in-law has good intentions. Ultimately, the husband wants the wife happy, and the wife wants to be happy, right?
Yeah.
But it's all about having a communication. How do we share how we feel without having the fear of saying what you want to say, right? And that's where this community and the Meetup is for. And that's what my retreat is also for, right? It's bringing in these women, right?
I love it.
This retreat is not for women who aren't willing to go through the work to change their life. If you want to be blind to what you're tolerating, if you want to not work on your self-love and bring yourself to the next height, this is not the retreat for you. This is a retreat over 3 days. We're going to go through amazing workshops. You're going to go to a beautiful flower farm where there's a labyrinth, and you get to have some inner contemplation and pondering and reflection. We're going to have some yoga sessions so you can move through and release emotions that you've been stuck and holding in. Because it happens. We go through life and we hold everything in, right? And you're going to walk out cultivating that new self-love for yourself. You're going to eliminate your self-doubt. You're going to gain that confidence, and you're going to start charting that new life.
I love it. So, Pallavi, you have a retreat coming up. What are the dates on that?
Yes, it's Friday, October 18th, and it ends on Sunday, October 20th.
Great. So everyone can afford a weekend to get away. I highly recommend if you're a woman of color, and you need to step back and have some time at a place like this. It's in California. I highly recommend that you do that. She also has an online group. So there's workshops, there's activities, and here's the meetup link for Divine Connections Empowered Desi Women's Circle. So please make sure you look into that as well. I've got all of her other links below. And I just want to thank you, Pallavi, for joining us today, for being there for women that are navigating and going through those hurdles of that dual culture. That's not something all of us can understand. That's why I love that you're there to really provide that direction, give them wholesome activities, fun workshops for them to come together, learn, help each other, support each other. And now you've got the retreat coming up. And I know you do one-on-one coaching as well, working with individuals. So thank you so much for being part of the LEAP community. We will have all of your information below. Please, please, please reach out to Pallavi if this is you and you can relate, because I think it's important that we each get the help that we need and the support that we need during the time and season of our life that we're looking for it. So Pallavi, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Colleen. It was my pleasure.
And to all of you out there, don't forget this week, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.